Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
All right, Prime Minds, episode 4. We are back, Eternal Champion, Prime Eternal holders. How you guys doing? For the veteran Prime Eternal holders, this podcast is for you. For people that are Prime Eternal Champion Ascension curious, this podcast is also for you. Speaking of that, if you're a listener, if you've listened to our few episodes, if you're listening to this episode now, feel free to share this with some friends, some people that are maybe finding out about NFTs, some people that want to find out more about play to earn gaming, and especially if you want to bring some buddies into the Champions Ascension world. If you don't have to explain yourself, just share this podcast. The Prime Minds is going through it all every single week, and we are back here 4 weeks in, episode 4. I'm proud of us. Prime Minds, rest of the crew, how are you guys doing today, this Saturday morning? How are you guys doing? How you feeling?
You.
Good.
Glad
Go
to
around.
be here.
Go around. Look, let's do this. Gonzaga, who are you? How you feeling today? You're Gonzaga,
Feeling
but
good.
how you feeling? All right.
Oh yeah, I'm excited about the codex. Some people from the pack started helping yesterday and getting some data fleshed out.
Oh man, and you get a lot of people are loving that. We know that takes a lot of work. Gonzaga does it. You don't cease to amaze me, man. You're doing everything. So shout out to Gonzaga. The codex was shouted out at the AMA. A lot of things were. So I love this community. I love what we do. By the dip, who are you? How you feeling?
What's up, guys? You know me, as usual, bullish, always bullish on this project. I'm very excited about to have these guild members up here and to pick their brains a little.
Yep. Z-Making, you with us? How you feeling?
Oh yeah, I'm here for now, bro. I'm pumped. Always pumped to be here on Prime Minds. I'm actually over here about to do some work at SakuraCon, driving through downtown Seattle, and there's some weirdos out here, man. But it's exciting.
Ooh, West Coast, baby. Pacific. All right. Vita G, how you doing, man?
Great. I'm just stoked to be here, and I'm excited to get into a little bit of a mystery here soon in the Discord and through social media and the lore. A bit of that happened yesterday. I'm excited to get in the mystery bus and see what happens, man.
Yeah. So we have a couple things. So for one special show today, guys, we got 3 who I feel like will be some powerful people up in Massina, right? Very influential people. The 3 leaders of the leader of each major guild is going to be on with us today, kind of discussing what it takes to run a guild, why they wanted to form a guild, and what their vision is for guilds in Massina. We got a lot of information, maybe a couple AMAs back, that guilds are going to they're going to be a very big feature in Champions Ascension. So we kind of want to see, what some strategy will be, how these guilds are going to move forward, and what the leaders are doing day to day to kind of grow their guild and, at the end of the day, become a little bit more influential and help out all the guild members. And if you're not in a guild yet, this might be a good episode for you to listen to, so you can kind of hear from the guilds, determine which one you want to join, and even determine if you want to be in a guild at all. But also, guys, we had an AMA last night. Shout out to the Prime Minds, by the dip, Z-Making asked some pretty interesting questions. You guys want to discuss that real quick before we move forward? Kind of, how you felt about the AMA, or what you feel about the lore. The AMA was lore themed. What you feel about that moving forward? What do you guys think?
I've always been good at reading in between the lines, and a lot of what I picked up from the lore, that's why I asked specifically, we were talking about different dimensions, right? Because they were saying as the other champions in different dimensions were watching the other ones just get slaughtered, right? And beat, and they weren't going to interfere. So that told me like, man, that means if there's different dimensions, different portals, are we talking about, more than the world of Massina here? And that's why I wanted to bring that up, and it was just really interesting to me.
Yeah. And to that point, what that makes you think is that they're really looking at building out. So you kind of squeezed some alpha out. I think that was Right or Ryan that was responding to you. And it seems like, based on his response, is they're really going to build this world out. It's like Jam City, right, has Massina. We're going to have the land there, but I think we discussed this before. But it's going to look like a bigger metaverse where folks can go through portals, maybe explore different worlds. He even brought up the moon, so certain folks will have passes to get to the moon. But there will just be different worlds to explore, walk around with your avatar. And I think the bigger this becomes, the better it is for all us Prime holders. So that was a good question, man. I'm glad you squeezed that alpha out of them last night. Z-Making, I know you had a pretty good question too. Did we gain anything from that?
So I was under the assumption previously that this guaranteed land that was for like the Founders Edition perks for just buying a Prime, right, was going to be in one centric area. I mean, I guess that's just something that I thought. If they're guaranteeing land, how can they guarantee land all over the map, right? And they both, Ryder Ryan and Captain Chris, alluded to the fact that that is not the case. So it kind of it puts a big shuffle into what either individuals or guilds are going to look at for getting this piece of guaranteed land. Because I was under the assumption previously that we were had a section, and if you didn't buy your guaranteed land, it would just always be there for you, right? Now you have a piece of guaranteed land, and if you would end up not taking advantage of that to begin with and buying other land elsewhere, you could just end up with the crappiest piece of land on the map, and it's guaranteed to be yours, but it's still not the greatest. I was actually really excited though about the stuff when they were talking about the underground and the dungeons and the different portals to different worlds. And again, I thought a map of land, right? And so I'm wondering, Captain Chris specifically talked about being different dungeons underneath Mount Volcanus, and so I'm wondering if that's gonna possibly be something that we can acquire and create our own dungeons in the future, because he said it was gonna be like almost infinite, right? So that would play into the fact of content creation from players.
If you can kind of acquire some of that dungeon space, some of that land down there, and own it and develop it. It depends where you want to be, in underground, on in the city, like where the folks want to be, right? That's good. And part of the land process too is that's one of the things that really drew me to this game. The strategic placement of land, owning something and developing it and trying to get in where folks are drawn to, and then even why myself, and we might get into this more, why I wanted to join a guild, because an advantage of a guild and joining up with other players, you can kind of determine where you want to gather your resources and create a certain spot that's going to draw other people and more commerce and, more economics for the whole guild, including yourself. So that's a really interesting part. That's a strategic part of this game. And, I know a lot of us can't wait for that, right? I'm patient. I know the Prime Minds are patient. We want to see it. We want to see it just as much as everybody else does. But we want to see it done right. So that was good. That was a really good AMA last night. I have to catch up with the lore myself, but yeah. But today, everybody, we are going to talk about the guilds. And for those that don't know, the guilds are becoming a major aspect of this game. Like I said, a few AMAs back, they were talking about there's going to be a big focus on guild and group economics, even large scale development, as has to do with the guilds, large scale player versus player, which not sure what that looks like. I'm sure something like some adventure games, maybe like some World of Warcraft style, where you're partnering with your guild and accomplishing some tasks and doing some missions. But a lot of guild strategy is being built into this game. And one thing that really interests me, and I think, is something to say about the whole Web3 space and the way, and another reason why I'm very bullish about this game is that they're allowing the formation of these guilds to kind of direct, one, where the game is going, and two, the lore the background and the story of the whole game. So as guilds are forming and as the members and the leaders of the guilds take do what they do, that's being pretty much canonized and documented in the lore, and it's going to really have an effect on where the game is going. That's a whole Web3 thing. What do you guys think about that? Does that make you excited?
Oh, dude, I'm stoked. And that actually, to me, was one of the biggest takeaways that I got from the AMA was Writer Ryan is really paying attention to what people are saying and doing in the community. He referenced multiple people on, hey, this person did that thing, or they were talking about this. So I think that just shows a really cool opportunity where the person who's really crafting this world and is doing an excellent job is truly paying attention to what people are saying, what they're interested in, as well as what the questions they have are. So I think that's a really cool way that we get to own a piece of the story, although it is a bit random, right? It's whatever Writer Ryan thinks would fit well in whatever we're doing. But I think that's an additional way that we have kind of a stake in this game. I just think is really fascinating. And as Ryan has said in the AMA, and as I've experienced as being a gamer, we don't really get that opportunity very often. So excited.
It's new. It's a new frontier. It's new for the developers, for the writer to kind of get our feedback in real time and put that into the lore, and then developers to put that into the game. And it's new for players that we get to actually help, in a sense, develop the whole damn game, right? So
I think this is like the perfect integration of Web3, because Web3 is supposed to be, the interaction between the consumer and the producer, or the people who create the content. And so I know Jam City's mostly been, a Web2 developer for all their, the $1 billion worth of games that they've made, but this is definitely a step into the Web3, dimension for them. And I think it's a good look, and it's great. I can't think of another game that people have been able to actually create that play the game. So I'm excited about that as well.
I love that they're staying true to the space. And if anyone heard our interview last week with Squiddy, one of the OGs of the Web3 space and NFT space period, he kind of went through that, how, the community has a lot to do with the success of a project. And I think the fact that Squiddy is there just gives me so much more confidence, because he I'm sure is keeping Champions Ascension and Jam City true to the true culture of the Web3 space and what Web3 is meant to be. So I'm excited. I'm bullish. As to keep it moving here, guys, like I said, there's a special treat. The guilds are a big part of the game, and of course the leaders of the guild will in effect be also a big part of the game. So as they are building this out, we have the special opportunity to let you all hear, and the Prime Minds get to hear and conversate with the leaders of the guild. So without further ado, what I want to do is bring up our very first guest, and he is the leader of the Fenrir pack. He is the holder of the only 5D Prime, which is a Death Essence Fenrir, who actually I've looked at. I love him. He looks amazing. I think he's going to be a powerful fighter. I bring to you all Ash. Is Ash
Hello,
with
guys.
us? Ash, what's up, man? Thanks for joining us. How you doing today?
Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, great.
Yep.
Glad to be here, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thanks. Look, you're one of the guild founders. You're the leader of the Fenrir pack. First of all, thanks for doing it. The fact that the community involvement is there, the fact that there are folks that are willing to step up and take that leadership role and to build a guild out, that makes this game even more powerful, right? I think having 3 to start off with is great. So much props to you, man. I appreciate what you do.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be part of this project and this community, and I have really big expectations for this project. I'm really new to the NFT and crypto space, and I just dove into the Champions Ascension project, really.
I think that's a lot of our stories.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that real quick. A little bit of backstory. How did you first find out about NFTs, and then how did you find out about Champions Ascension?
So that's really interesting. I am a big gamer, right? So I've been playing since, I don't know, 5, 6 years old. I started my gaming life with the Atari, which was one of the first video games ever, like playing Pac-Man and games like that. And I moved on all the ladder through history of the gaming history. So gaming has been a big part of my life, really big. And
You're an
MMOs.
OG gamer, huh?
Yeah,
Coming up
man.
playing all the old
It's
school.
been more than 40 years now playing.
Yeah. Hey,
So
we're in the same boat, man. Me too. I
absolutely.
remember pumping the quarters into the arcade myself.
Oh yeah, many
It
of
wasn't
them.
cheap
Yeah.
back then.
We lost a bunch of money there.
Right. What game did you really dive into, right? Like what games do you think prepared you for this, and what did you dive into later
So
on?
I was a professional player, right, for a FPS game, which was Tactical Operations. It was a similar game to Counter-Strike, but the game ended up dying because Counter-Strike got most of the community, so the devs couldn't hold the game because of the competition. We were like 4 times national champions in Brazil when esports wasn't even a thing yet. It will take still some years for that to happen, which was unfortunate because we were like winning every year on a sequence. So I'm a big first player shooter gamer. Like I really love the genre. And MMOs and RPGs overall. I was into Dungeons and Dragons all my life. I was a dungeon master for more than 20 years with like thousands of adventures to my players. So between first player shooters and games like XCOM, Diablo, Hearthstone, I was also in the professional ladder for Gwent, which is the card game for The Witcher that I love also. And
Nice.
a high elo player for Heroes of the Storm. And currently, I've been playing a lot of Overwatch and Hearthstone while we wait for the game to release. That's how I've been like killing my time.
Wow. And I remember that's amazing. Look, I remember when the day of the reveal. I think it was so first of all, shout out to the community because we're a global community with Champions Ascension. And I think you're in a little different time zone. Where are you at on the globe?
I was in Portugal, man. It was like
Portugal.
Yeah, I was in Portugal and it was really early for me. I woke up in the
remember they
middle of the
brought you
night.
up.
Yeah.
They brought you up to the stage. You're like, wait, what's going on? I got a 5D. Like, what's going on here? You're a little confused. Like, how did you feel when you found out you had the 5D?
I had no idea. So if you look at the image of the Fenrir, I don't know if you have the image around, but it's funny because the P actually looks like a 2. I thought, oh, my NFT's bugged. It's like a 2. What is this? Like I felt like, oh my god, it's bugged. You see, it's a 2 divinity. Nice. Then I post it and I say, hey, I got this one. Is it good? Like I had no idea what I was getting, So no, that's a prime. That's a prime. And what is it? I have no idea what it is.
Hey, what number is that one?
1898.
Yeah, we'll pull it up for our YouTube audience.
Yeah.
It looks like a P. It looks like a P, right?
Yeah, I thought it was a bug, something like that.
Like you got a misprint, which would have been cool by itself anyway.
Exactly. I thought, oh.
And you straight minted it. I remember they asked you, like, what are you going to do with it? Look, like, I'll be honest with you, Ash, I would have been like, damn, how much can I get for it? But you automatically came out, look, I'm a damn gamer. I can't wait for this game to come out. I want to test this guy out in the damn arena. Like, that's kind of what you were saying.
Because I like game mechanics, right? I've been like playing all sorts of games. And I like the mechanics in the game, so I cannot wait to use it and play with it and have fun with it.
Oh, right.
And it would be a shame to like instantly sell it without even know how it goes, And I'm a gamer. I want to play.
I heard you that night on that AMA, on that reveal. And then you were like, "No, I'm about to dive into this." And I was like, "That's amazing." I'm glad somebody that's going to be a holder and a gamer is the one that got that right. That it didn't just go to an investor, a speculator, or some type of, some guild that's just looking to make some economics. So I'm glad that went to someone like you.
Thank you. And I got it from OpenSea. I bought a couple, and I would never expect to get that. I feel bad for the person that sold it for 0.7 ETH.
Hey, hey, look, whatever.
So Ash, seems like we need to take you to the casino.
Yeah, that was a paper hand move.
You know what gets me? Yeah, what gets me is like he could have also been burned, right? And I don't want to get too far off track, but a lot of them got burned, and I'm pretty sure. I think this might be a question for some of the developers, but it wasn't a given that there would have even been a 5D in the first place. I think it was all randomized. Right? There was a chance.
Divinity were burned. A lot of them.
4Ds were burned.
Yeah, a lot of them were burned.
Well, my sad. We should have a funeral for them when the game starts.
A proper one.
And so you got a couple. I was in the same boat, man. I didn't get the whitelist. I was a little bit late, right? I was before the reveal and before the public auction, but I bought some off of OpenSea that I minted that way. So that's what you did. You bought a couple. Did you have 2 or 3, or how many did you have?
So I worked my ass off to get in the whitelist. I was so mad because I have like more than 100 entries. I didn't get selected. So said, okay, I like the project. I think it's cool. I want to play in the arena because I like arena games also. I didn't want to miss out. I bought a couple, and waited for it.
Yeah.
And now I have a whole army.
5D. Look at that. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Let's say I've been buying. I thought I was going to start with 2. I think that's a lot of our stories too. And then, but I got like 6. I'm looking for my 7th. Hopefully I can get 12, a whole family.
We all want the whole family, right? We want like Mortal Kombat options to have the whole crew,
Right. Right. And see who I like best, because I still don't know, right? Until the game starts.
Hey, think about this. We don't know what the meta is going to be. Maybe the Fenrir is very tough to play. We don't know the mechanics yet. But maybe the Darulk is the best class, it's OP. For example, when you consider the Karkadon has a lot of range, and there will be like, I think it's the Gatekeeper will use Spear and Shield. Is it the Gatekeeper? I don't know.
Sure,
but range in games like that, they always are interesting because you have the range. You can kite, So in terms of game mechanics, I would love to stay in range. But we have to see how they're going to balance the game.
We're really going to dive into some of the game mechanics, especially with Gonzaga. Maybe we can dedicate a whole episode to that in the future, I'm sure, and we'll dive into it. Maybe when the game comes out, we'll see. So when it comes to the guild, so did you were you thinking of starting a guild coming into this game, or kind of what made you want to start your own guild and take on that responsibility?
So I think it was fate. I'm a big believer in fate, and I think that it was no coincidence that I was gifted this 5D somehow. And I thought, okay, this is my time to really move this project of moving a guild because, like I told you, I was in esports, right? I was making teams for different games. My last project didn't move exactly as I wanted because Blizzard took off all the incentives for the Contenders League. So it's like a dying game right now. They're waiting for Overwatch 2. So I am about esports in many, many different genres of games. I like that. I cannot devote myself to that like I used to because I have to work and pay for the bills. But when I started to study the possibilities with the crypto space and crypto gaming, I said, wow, maybe this is a dream that can come true. And I think that's where we are all at. We don't work for the game industry, but as gamers, maybe we can find a game that will actually pay for the bills. That's like a big thing for us because we're so passionate about games and gaming. And I thought to myself, okay, this is my time to make a move. I'm going to resume my streaming channel that I started to do with Overwatch in the past and some other games. See how it goes because everybody wants to see a 5D in action. It's it's like the NFT to look at a stream,
I think
I might
a lot of people
in the game, and no one will watch me. But
do you have that? Do you stream on YouTube or Twitch? What do you stream that on?
I used to stream on YouTube and Twitch and on Discord. So I used 3 platforms.
Are you starting it up again? Because we'll be sure to.
I will set it up again. I will set it up all again from scratch. It takes a lot of time to organize everything. It's It's not
Oh,
easy
we know.
because I'm not really an expert in the field. I will need like people to help me set everything up, and you need to understand a little bit of OBS and or Streamlabs and set up my
And that's
Stream Deck.
probably where the members of the guild will come in, right? To
Yeah,
help that whole
probably.
process out. That's
And I have my
that's
beautiful
the
wife
idea.
too. My beautiful wife was helping me. She'll help me again,
Oh,
probably.
what a blessing, bro! What a blessing, man. Good. And so, what type of community building in the guild goes on? Like, where do you see? How are you looking to build community, and what are you looking at doing in the future to build community within your guild?
So this is really early stage, right? I think the first steps for us is to have a really well organized and beautiful Discord. And thanks to people like Cody and Steffici and Debut, we have admins like putting everything in order. Or Discord looks really pretty right now. They did put a lot of work into the Discord. We already have people boosting the server so we can have everything personalized. We did a very detailed roadmap right now, which has like milestones on how to improve the guild structure, and we have the objectives, to follow. So the first objectives were to set Discord, to have a professional logo, and to animate the logo. So we have an animation for the logo. Of course, we have many more steps to organize, like a website, but that is for the future, at this early stage. I think that right now, there's so much that we can do, but we also have to wait for Gem City to bring in new players and new content for us to share with friends and possible clan members. We need to build our community around this new material that will happen, and that we have actually activities to create this engagement with new potential members to come to the space and get to know the project.
Right. Yeah. So when it comes to even like new players joining the game, I'm sure I see a lot of recruiting happening. Like, talk about the recruiting, right? And when it comes to new members, is there an interview process or any criteria you'd like them to meet, or kind of like any rules they need to follow? Like who are you looking for?
But like right now, I think the main channel that we use is the guild recruitment channel on the Champions Ascension's Discord. But it's like I think 3 guilds recruit in the same space. It's not very efficient for all of us. It's the only way we have right now available. When we get people, they do fill a form to see if they match some basic criteria. For example, having actually a prime for now. Else you get into the scholar waiting list for the future. Surprisingly, we've been gathering or receiving the clan a lot of professional players or people that are in high elo, like high in the ladders of many different games. And we have also investors, so it's quite a mix. It's really interesting, the community we're building around this guild, because we have many from the casual, but we also have like really committed players and really engaged people. We have, for example, next Tekken and Mortal Kombat champion. We have people that won tournaments in Warcraft 3. We have people like me that are really high into first-person shooter games. It's really, really interesting to get to know these people, because you will never actually talk to them and say, hey, what do you play? What do you like playing, and etc.
Yeah, that's what I get too, man. It's like we're making some friends, we have some shared interest, and even with this podcast, just meeting some of the very creative, talented, brilliant people, man. It's just a cool experience, and even inside of the guilds too.
I agree with you.
Do you guys get on voice chats, or kind of meet up that way, or do you have a separate Discord you all meet in? What does that look like when it comes to building relationships?
So the pack has its own Discord, right? And we have a channel for like the administrators that we have right now, like people helping with the structure of the guild. It's really early stage, right? It's really, really early stage. It's been like 3 weeks we have this going.
Okay.
But we do have a structure right now. So we have voice channels. We talk about ideas together. We established some plans. We are trying to set guidelines for the future. But like I told you, I think we need more material to have like a precise path to follow, because it's a lot of theory crafting at this stage. It's really super early.
We're early. I'm glad we're actually in very early.
Yeah.
So real quick, and we're going to get to one leader of each guild, but when it comes to the actual gameplay, when we're able to go into Massina and have the group economics and have the PvP and large scale PvP, what kind of role do you think the guilds will play when the gameplay starts? And that's a broad question, man. Take it anywhere you want.
No, and I think I have a vision about this. I think there are three pillars for the game around the guilds, right?
Yeah.
So the first pillar will be around PvP and PvE. So you need the engagement of the guilds on PvP content and PvE. That's a pillar, right? And when we talk about PvP, we can talk about open world. And we can talk about the arena 1v1s, 2v2s, 3v3s, maybe a little more. They'll see which routes they want to take. Personally, I would love to see some capture the flag or King of the Hill kind of game inside. I think that's always modes that I think are fun to play. The other pillar that I think that will play big is the economic part, right? So how guilds will trade and craft or farm materials. I am not very fond of mining and fishing. I've had my share of that with New World. That was, a pain. That was really painful. I don't think it's fun.
Is it kind of having a day job? It's like you gotta work.
It's very repetitive, There's no creativity. I'd rather get materials while fighting. After all, it's an arena game, But
right.
I do understand some people do like the farming and collecting herbs and fishing. I'm not really a big fan of that, but I
think like any community, I think that's another strength of a guild. Is just like any community. Some people will have special interests. Some people will have maybe special skills inside of the game. While Absolutely. You, Ash, you're a game player, a PvP player, FPS player. You and especially with that 5D, you could probably beat some ass in the arena. And then some other folks might have liked Farmville, and they can grow some things and help the guild out that way.
Yeah, my problem with the farming and the crafting, that's sometimes it can go quickly to a chore, It's like a duty. It takes a lot of the fun. It's not core to the game,
Mm-hmm.
And you can have it, but it's not core to the game.
It might be core to some economics, but
exactly.
maybe winning in the arena, maybe that's some better economics there. That's yet to be seen, and I'm excited, just like everyone else is.
So we have two pillars. So right now, right, we have game mechanics on combat on PvP and PvE. The second one is the economics that will be figured out by the team, and the third one is the role play, which for me it's very big. If you take some games like, for example, GTA, they have big engaged community doing role-playing sessions on GTA. It's so fun to watch on Twitch. The numbers on Twitch for people actually viewing those role-playing sessions on GTA are amazing, man. They get so huge numbers. And I think role play, I'm a big role player. I love to role play. That's my personal taste. I have friends that completely hate that, but I would like to have a role playing game,
Yeah, you think that'll bring viewers and some fans in and draw more people to the game?
Yeah, I think it can be quite interesting because the lore part is so interesting. Yeah. And it creates engagement and this immersion, you're completely immersed in the game because you're not yourself, you're your character, you're
so many aspects. So that's why I think a lot of us are bullish. We're some early adopters. We found out about the project early, and I'm just grateful for that, and I know everybody is. Real quick, man, last question, and I want to know, probably the audience wants to know, there's probably some people listening that are trying to decide what guild they want to join. Why should somebody join the pack, Ash?
Well, I think if you're a person that likes good and clear communication on a collaborative game, being part of a team that is highly competitive, with people like-minded that wants to earn some serious money in the game, we are the guild for you.
There it is, man. Look, Ash, I appreciate you. The community appreciates you. You're doing a lot. Thank you for stepping up and making a guild. I'm glad we have at least 3 to start with. Blessings, man.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks. Say hello to your beautiful wife, man, and take care of that 5D.
Thank you all for having me and sharing this incredible space with everyone and promoting this podcast.
Thank you, Ash. It was a pleasure, brother.
Appreciate it.
Pleasure all mine. Cheers.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks for what you're doing with the community.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers.
All right, audience, Prime Minds. I think that we're going to have some new guests come up. As everyone knows, if you're in the Discord, if you're a Champions Ascension fan and DGen like the rest of us, you know that there are 3 guilds. The other major guild that does amazing recruiting, it seems like a very democratic guild that wants to give everybody a voice, every house a voice. We have with us the Wardens of Massina leaders. It looks like we have KG and Bobby V with us. Is that correct?
You got it, man. You got it. Thanks for having us on.
Hey, KG, what's up?
Bobby V.
Bobby V, how are you guys doing? I know the voices well. I know you all join in and speak up at the AMA, so I appreciate everything you're doing to move this community and move this game forward. How y'all feeling today?
I'm all good here, brother. I'm all good here. How are you doing?
I am good. And not to point out the obvious, but I think I sense a little accent. And I think I had this conversation just now with Ash. We're a global community. Another thing that I love about this, the CA in this game. Where on the globe are you guys from?
Myself, I'm from Wales in the UK, so that nice small little country next to England.
Wonderful.
And you may hear a tinge of Texan in my voice. I was born and bred in Texas, but living in Cali.
Ah, the Republic of Texas. I love it.
Yo, Bobby!
Everybody who grows up in Texas thinks everything's bigger and better, and we're loud, and I've already warned you, we talk a lot.
I love it. Yeah, I heard you drop some gems in one of these AMAs, man. I appreciate it. I forgot exactly what it was, but it was some good stuff. You were preaching the other night.
Well, I'm always preaching, but I tell you what, I love this game. It's exceeded what I thought it would be, and I'm going to pass this over to KG to focus on the guild stuff. But seriously, first project to get into, first NFT. Had no idea there would even be guilds or what guilds were exactly, other than a little bit of research I was doing on Axie, and then saw this and I said, that's it. And like Ash had said, I'm 100% all in. I'm not even looking at other games. This is the metaverse I'm in, and I'm doing it with KG. And let's talk to him about what how he's building this guild and how he hooked me in early and what we're doing.
Yo, shout out to Bobby. We've got some amazing people in this guild, right? Some amazing members, and Bobby's one of them.
I dipped out for a second. I'm sorry, guys. I'm back. All right. Yeah,
disappeared.
I'm back now. So yeah, I like the journey. I think I heard about the journey, and I like asking about that actually. So KG, as it applies to you, how did you hear about the NFTs, NFT space, NFT gaming, and how did you hear about Champions Ascension?
Yeah, man. So Champions Ascension was the first NFT project I got involved in. And it was a funny story. I was looking at NFTs from all the hype coming around Bored Apes and that. Didn't really know too much about it. And I'm scrolling through the old Reddit, and an ad comes up for Champions Ascension. I thought, oh, this looks good. I saw a little video on it, and next thing you know, it's an NFT, and here I am now. I thought I was only having one Prime. I'm now 3 in. Hope to get a bit more, but I won't tell the missus about that. She might have something else to say.
Same here, man. I don't think the wife knows that I'm into this and I'm doing the podcast. She's like, "Oh, I'm glad you have a hobby," but she doesn't know what I spent on it. That's between all of us here and everybody listening. But it's going to work out. It's going to work out for us.
Exactly. That's all we need to say.
Right. So when it came to forming the guilds, have you had experience in other games with different guilds? And then kind of what made you want to form a guild for this game? What were you
Yeah,
thinking?
yeah, man. So guilds have always been something I've been involved in now for at least the past 15 years. It's ever since the old World of Warcraft days, um, back in the classics now, where the guilds are plenty. There's plenty of members, and ever since then, no matter what game I've been in, it's always something I've dedicated some time to.
So
Usually,
you
the
played
only
World. I don't want to cut you off there, but
yeah, man.
World of Warcraft. Of course, everybody's heard of it. I myself never actually played it. What was the advantages of guilds in there, and were you involved in guilds of World of Warcraft? How
Yeah,
did that work?
definitely, man. It was what I seen in a type of game like that, right? It's almost self-explanatory that guilds are a requirement. Now, playing solo in those type of games, sure, it's possible. Sure, you can do it, but is it, the best make of your time? Probably not. Are you going to gain more from being in a guild? Definitely. Um, there's all sorts of benefits to it in the sense of World of Warcraft, and I feel Champions Ascension might go down the same path. You add guild
Hmm.
banks, um, community resources, guild raids, dungeons, that type of thing, and just small sense of community. I don't think back then the sense of community was anywhere near the level of what Champions Ascension's building and what we
Hmm.
plan to build with the Wardens. But yeah, man, over the years, it's always been something I've been into. It's the first thing I look at, unless it's a casual game I'm playing. If it's casual game I'm playing and it's a game that's been long standing now for quite a while, I don't
Hmm.
usually get involved. But when I want to dedicate time to take something seriously, and it's especially at the beginning of something, I think creating a guild's the best way to go for sure.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So talk a little about that. Like, why did you want to start the Wardens Guild? And you'll even talk about the name, the Wardens. What kind of what values you all are building around. Why it's called the Wardens, and why you wanted to start it.
Yeah, man, some good questions. I'll start with a name for just to get started, right? So the whole sense behind the Wardens was mainly due to the lore that's been popping off. So as we all know, the Emperor is not the kindest of gentlemen in the space. In Massina, he might not be the most liked person around. Hence why there's rebels. Hence why people are trying to um, take over and get him out of the picture. So the whole
Right.
idea behind Wardens was creating a community that, in a sense, are protecting um, the members, the citizens of Messina, and that's just where the whole idea come from. So, the term warden means to protect something, that's just the whole idea behind it. We want to be a
Mm.
community for the people, by the people, and that doesn't necessarily, before people take that wrong, that doesn't necessarily mean we're rebels at all. But it does mean we've got community at our first and foremost interest,
I
as the
see.
citizens too.
So it's like making sure that you can come together to build some power in case you have to fight a little battle, even if it's a political battle or a physical battle against the powers that be in Messina, or even if it's some outside forces in the game, some other guilds or some investors or some whales that you have to get together and strategize against.
Exactly,
That's
exactly.
the
It can be,
idea. Yeah.
it's yeah, just that. It can be anything, whether it's Wales, whether it's a certain political climate in the game. It's against anything and everything that might have a negative impact on the community um, within the game as well. So yeah, there's a lot to it, and there's always more to share. But I'll leave it at that for now.
Yeah. KG, you know what? I'm thinking of some questions here, man. Like there might be somebody listening, an ambitious person out there that might want to start their own guild. Uh, Give some perspective, man. Shed some light what it's like to actually be the leader of a guild, and has that changed your day-to-day life? And yeah, what does it take to run a guild?
Yeah, good question. I think it depends really. It all depends on the type of guild you're creating. I think um, there's been quite a difference between the three guilds, where the three founding guilds now. So the pack seem to be a PvP and skill orientated guild. For players who, I think it was mentioned, some of them are ex-professional players, which means they're probably going to be very good at PvP, and that might be their area of focus. So it does depend on the type of guild you've got. I think in our situation, because we're community driven, I think it's all about being a leader. I can put forth a vision, maybe. So a vision people might agree with, might want to follow. But in our sense, it's also then recognizing that people might have different ideas. So we use those ideas, and that's how we shape and improve the things I might have initially set out for the guild. And that's just how we roll forward, man. That's how we roll.
That sounds like, a lot of the whole Web3 experience is like, it's not really top down dictating, right? And we see that with the way the devs are building the game out. They're kind of taking the lead from the way the guilds are forming and what they're naming themselves and putting that into the lore and into the game. I think the guilds themselves, from what I understand, is like really democratic, really relying on their members to pitch in and to come up with suggestions and be creative too. Is that the focus of the Wardens? Are you guys really taking the lead from your members, and then kind of what do you require from your members of the Wardens? What is that like?
Yeah, so the Wardens in itself is a community-driven guild, right? But within the guild, we will have our own group of Elder Wardens, and now the Elder Wardens will make up the council. So although we are community-driven, within this community, we will have people leading and representing certain aspects of the guild. So whether it's a leader for the House of Arcane, whether we have a representative for an international channel, because at the moment we're gaining some international members, and they've got their own international channels in the Discord. So
nice.
Really, at the moment it's going with the flow and understanding that things are fluid. This is still so early.
It is. I'm glad to be here early.
Exactly, man. Exactly. The vision I've set out for the Wardens is always subject to change. We've got a voting system in place where we can decide on the suggestions that are being made. So we've got a channel for the suggestions, and that's just how it's working, man. We're listening to what the people want, and we're deciding together if that's the best place to go.
Do you have, when you're recruiting, I see you do a great job of recruiting, right? You have kind of what the Wardens is about. You have some bullet points there with the swords. Looks really cool. Is there any recruitment criteria that you're looking at with members, or do they have to meet any type of criteria to come onto the Wardens?
Yeah, okay. So in terms of recruitment, first let's give a shout out to Blitz and the other guys doing one hell of a job of getting people in. Special shout out to Blitz especially, who is officially our recruitment board, and he's been doing one hell of a job. So yeah, that's the type of members
Shout
we've got
out.
at the moment.
Yep.
Exactly. They're working hard, they're contributing, so I love it.
Okay.
And that's what we're building. But in
Good.
terms of criteria, there's no official criteria in the sense that beyond holding a Prime Eternal, I don't expect you to be the best player in the game. I don't expect you to need to put 10 hours or X amount of hours in to contribute to the guild. As long as you can bring positive, good vibes, just like we do in Champions Ascension, I don't see any other reason to not accept you at the moment.
Yeah.
Always subject to change.
Right. Yeah, I think just the fact that you're holding a champion, man, you're cool with me, right? It's like, come on in, right?
Exactly.
The more the merrier. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's amazing.
If at some point we find that whoever's joined are not fitting right in the community, if they're not bringing these vibes, if they're not bringing what's needed, maybe we will relook at it and see if they need to look elsewhere for a guild. But at the moment, I think we're over 70 people now, and we've had zero issues. Everyone contributes. People make suggestions. We've got our own channel for Maestro introductions where people tell us a bit about themselves. So yeah, man, it's going good.
Nice.
So KG,
Yeah.
I just wanted to touch on great respect for you in the community. You're really OG in the community. You've been here from the beginning. I'm really glad to see how big you guys are growing. And I did hear some chatter around, okay, that you guys own something like over 200 primes. Is that true?
Yeah, first shout out to you, Dip. You're a homie, you're a brother. Love you, man. In terms of
Yeah.
the primes we got, so what I've done, and this was some suggestions from the members, right? Is I created a Microsoft Forms. So this is some insider information for you guys. Maybe this is something you can use in your respective guilds, right? So I
Uh-oh,
created
alpha.
Alpha,
Yes.
exactly.
Alpha leak. All right.
um, I'm all for sharing and collaborating ideas with you guys, so I'll keep it coming. So
Mm-hmm.
I've got a Microsoft Forms, a little questionnaire, and in that questionnaire, one of the questions is how many primes do you own? And at the moment, we've got over 70 members in the Discord. We've got some with 1, and then we've got some with up to 15. So that quickly adds up. Yeah, that quickly
Nice.
adds up. So I'll leave it at that.
Nice. And so, yeah, and having more primes is better for the guild. With the group economics, the big, player versus player aspect, PVE aspect. When the game starts, when we're in Massina walking around and going to the market, doing the battles in the arena, kind of what role do you envision the guilds will play in Champions Ascension? And we did get some leaks from some of the AMAs, but what do you think that'll turn out to be? When it comes to the guilds.
Yeah, so guilds I think are gonna be massive. Um, yes, we're running on little information at the moment, but
Mm-hmm.
if they really plan to deliver a game similar to WoW in 2023, just like WoW, guilds are gonna be huge. So to start building like the 3 founding guilds are doing now, um, I couldn't think of a better idea. You're going to build
Mm-hmm.
that core community, and as time goes on, if they introduce free to play, you've already got a group of people there, whether it's 30, 50, 500. You've got these people there who can help with the community. They can help with the new members. They can keep the ball rolling. And yeah, man,
Mm-hmm.
I got big hopes for guilds, and I really do think they're going to be huge.
Mm-hmm. Do you think when the gameplay starts, some rivalries will pop off, and they might be fighting against each other, or you'll have to plot and plan to compete with other guilds? How do you think that might play out?
It's going to be an interesting one. It's definitely going to be an interesting one. So there's a lot of members in the Wardens now, who are OGs. We get on with just about anyone, especially the people who we were there in the trenches grinding for that whitelist. We know these
Yeah.
people. We've chilled. We've vibed with these people.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that when it comes to the game, things might be different because there might be wars, there might be PvP, there might be certain things where you have to best the other guild in order to gain certain advantages or rewards.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that might be how it's going to end up. And if it does, there'll always be that sense of rivalry there, but that doesn't mean it's a negative rivalry. So beyond that rivalry, the Wardens will still have the vibes of these people. Always aim for peace
Yeah.
wherever it is possible. But yeah, if we're more than down for some rivalry. I think it makes the game more fun. It makes it more competitive.
That's
So yeah,
true.
we're just seeing how it goes, man.
That's true. Look, I'm over here. I'm over here in the beautiful city of Detroit, and I remember the Bad Boys used to play the Chicago Bulls, and there was a big rivalry there. And all that did was make Michael Jordan the greatest NBA player of all time. Right? There might be some LeBron James fans out there, but I think Jordan takes it. So yeah, it sharpens each other. Right? It's like if there's a rivalry going, one guild wants to get better, the other guild gets better. You're right. It makes the game much more interesting, and I can't wait for that.
Exactly.
Just I'm gonna give you a shot too. It's like there's a lot of people that might be looking to join a guild, right? There, like you said, there's 3 major guilds in the space. Why would somebody choose to join the Wardens of Massina?
Yeah, it's a good one, man. First, shout out to the other 2 guilds doing a great job as well. It's not just the Wardens, who are constantly recruiting, having good vibes in the community. I always see Death Gang. I always see people from the pack as well representing. So always shout out to them.
Yep.
In terms of the Wardens, and I guess I can give you a little sales pitch on this. So to put it plain and simply, we definitely plan to be the greatest community-driven guild in all of Massina. So if people are down for getting stuck into a community, if they're down for building a type of relationship on a social side with people, and also I mentioned it earlier about how the community drives the direction of the guild. So if there's people who want a voice in the guild and how it moves forward, the Wardens is also a place for that. And we've got our own little Wardens motto, which I'll just give a quick mention as well. Maybe that's a more alpha. And it goes like,
let's hear it.
So we are the Wardens, we are one voice, and we are one family. So if that's the type of thing you're into, get in touch, and any of me or any of the other members will sort you out.
There it is. KG, thank you for what you're doing, man. We all appreciate it. The whole community appreciates it. Prime Minds appreciates it. I know it's not easy to be the leader, to step up and fill the role you're filling. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. Bobby, also, I appreciate you. I appreciate the preaching in the AMAs and in the Discord. You guys, both you guys, man, much love, much appreciation. Keep it up. I'll see you all soon.
Is it okay for me? Is it okay for me to just say a quick thing about being a member of a guild?
Please do, man. Go for it. Yep.
Yeah, just basically, when I came into the game, really, I was just trying to learn NFTs, wanted to invest in P to E. Like I said, I looked at Axie, but I thought, I'm way too late for that. And saw a chance to get whitelisted, did the grind, got involved, had no idea there'd be this whole idea of guilds. And I think the greatest thing for me as a member of the guild is getting more involved and being able to help people. Right, and that's for all of us. I'm talking for all the guild members. Everybody is assuming things right now until we have more things in writing. And so the greatest thing we can do, I'm working on a codex. I'm not saying it's the greatest thing we can do, but just the greatest thing we can do is help each other try to fathom out. And, there's a lot of guessing. Well, maybe owning somebody with, certain level of divinity and blah, blah, blah. What will that be? And we're all conjecturing. But if we're in the codex, one way we're helping and didn't envision doing this is, we're documenting what's being said in the lore. I've been printing out the lore and looking at it, but once you have to kind of help organize it and, you learn about different things, we were doing the different families and primes, and now we're on to pets. And then I understand, the pack, they're jumping in. Some people came up with the idea again of when you're trying to invest and buy a Prime Eternal on the market now, what different types of wings and rarity and this, that, and the other, that there wasn't any resource you can go to. And we're helping build this wiki where everybody is helping each other. It doesn't matter what guild you're in. And we're family here as Prime Eternals. Yeah, we're going to battle. I don't care who I face. I face you in the arena, I want to beat the hell out of you. I know I can't kill you. We can't kill each other, but once we get out, we can laugh about it and have fun. But I don't play a game unless I want to win.
That's
right?
true.
But
right.
we can be. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, you're right. We need that battle part where we are playing against each other. But at the end of the day, it's like what's best for the game is, I think, what all of us are interested in. Right. I think it's the reason we do what we do.
Right. And then the last thing is we're trying to build community, and there's one tough part of it on a guild is we have all the different people from around the world. So we're trying to be welcoming, but it's also, you got to be very careful on what you're saying and how, even if you're using Google Translate. So we're playing around as the best way to try to make people feel welcome, even though we can't, easily speak 20 or 30 different languages. That's an effort, and we're working on that. That's one of the challenges, but it's also good to see people are jumping in from every country in the world you can imagine. And I think it brings people together. And so it's been fun doing that. I thought I was coming into a game solo to buy NFTs, to learn about them, to play to earn. And I have to say, every layer of the onion that gets peeled back here, including the guilds, just keeps getting better and better, and I'm just glad to be part of it.
Same here, man. Bobby, hailing from Texas and California. KG from Wales. I appreciate you too, man. Keep up the great work. We will talk soon.
Thanks for letting us be here. Bye.
Man, thank you. All right, audience, champions. We heard from the pack, which Ash from the pack, and you know he was blessed with the 5D, and he's going to be a fighter. We heard from KG and Bobby out of the Wardens. They're doing a great job recruiting. You know, they're down for the success of the game overall, which I can get behind. But now we are going to get graced with the leader of the very first guild of Champions Ascension, who was the only guild for a while. And we're going to drop a little bit of alpha with a big announcement here too. Dewlit, are you with us? And Dewlit, the leader of the third guild.
You're muted, Dewlit.
The leader of the first guild, the big three. And I think he's going to join us in a second here.
It's all good.
And look, it's worth the wait because we're about to drop some alpha that only a few insiders know about when it comes to the other big, the one guild that was created first and the last guild that we have coming up here right now. So Dewlit, if you're there, and honestly, we're running a little bit long here today, guys, but for the folks that are podcast fans, we know that sometimes even Joe Rogan goes a few hours. We're about an hour in. We try to keep these to 60 minutes because we'd like to get along with our day and our weekend. But Dewlit, I think you're with us. What's up, Captain? How you doing?
Hey, guys. How's it going? Sorry about that. I was transitioning between the YouTube, and I had my Discord tab muted. I usually do because of all the dings and the notifications, so I got it figured out.
Look, I disconnected from my own podcast here a few minutes ago. So I don't know what the hell's going on for like 2 or 3 minutes. But yeah, man, welcome, man. Thanks for taking some time out to chat with us. So I was building it up. This guild here, the guild that you lead, and that the first guild in Champions Ascension. I think we got a big announcement, man. Let's get to it, bro. The elephant in the room. We'll get that out of the way and we'll move forward. So there is a guild known as the Death Gang that you're the leader of. Do you have any news, any updates, any big announcement to drop on us right now?
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like you know more than I do. But
I represent.
Right. So, so we did start out as the Death Gang. The big announcement that some of it might have leaked a little bit, some of you might know, but I'm very happy and excited to announce that we had an internal vote as a community, and we are now known as the Prime Syndicate.
Hype it up. What? Okay. All right. So the new name. Okay. So Death Gang started out, and that's wonderful. But as everything evolves, as things grow, as new knowledge of the game comes to light, there is a new name for the Death Gang. One more time, Dewlit. What's the new name for this guild?
The Prime Syndicate, ladies and gentlemen.
Get hype. The Prime Syndicate. The Prime Syndicate, formerly known as the Death Gang, still the very first guild in Champions Ascension. I don't know all of the details, but I think the biggest guild, and I'm going to be a little bit partial here, the guild that has just the most brilliant, creative, just the best team to roll with. Prime Syndicate, what's up? Prime Minds, how do you chime in here, man? What are you guys thinking? So, and even Dewlit, right? It's like started off as the Death Gang. What was the rationale in looking at the name and talking to the guild members to come up with a name change? What was the rationale behind that?
Yeah, I mean, you touched on the key word there is evolve. We started out very early on. We were some of the original members in the community, and Death Gang was something that drew a lot of us in. But as the game evolved, as new content and information came out, and some of the experiences we had, people assumed that Death Gang was simply a nickname for the House of Death. And we had new members coming into the community and saying, oh, I'm Death Gang, and not really understanding that it was a separate entity. But we also realized from the lore and AMAs and things like that, that there might be benefits to having crossbreeding or mixed guilds and things of that nature. And then, of course, when we minted our primes, we realized that some of our members weren't going to be able to get Death Essence primes, and we couldn't expect them to spend more money to go and try and procure the Death Essence. And so as the game evolved, we felt like we needed to pick a name that represented us better, the way we operate, the things we stood for, the fact that we are open to multiple essences and not just death. And we did a community vote. I'm really happy with it. A lot of participation, a lot of creativity, and ultimately we ended up with the Prime Syndicate, and I'm excited about it.
Nice. And I'm sure moving forward, maybe we'll have some logos, we'll have some emojis, we'll have some reactions coming out. We don't have all that yet, but yeah, what does it look like in terms of branding and getting the word out moving forward?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm sure a lot of people notice that the Wardens in the pack have some branding and logos, and that's awesome. I'm very happy to see that. They look great, and I wish that we could have that ready at the moment. We would have if we had stayed Death Gang, but we had to change and pivot on our own terms to do what's best for us as far as the game goes, and we will have that moving forward, and that's still something that involves our community. We have a lot of creative people, like you mentioned earlier, a lot of talent. So we're working on this together. We'll come up with some good branding, and the community will be able to see and experience that in the future.
Nice. Yeah. So if anybody's out there listening, looking for a guild, hey, at this point in the evolution of the Prime Syndicate, still taking feedback from the members, right? I'm honestly here, one of the new members of the guild, and the OG members are listening. They listen to everybody. They listen to the feedback. So it's a really collaborative environment, really democratic environment, and it's just a pleasure to be a member. So dewlit, man, it's like, go ahead, go.
King Dab, can I address another elephant in the room?
Please do.
So all of your hosts of this podcast do belong to the guild known as the Prime Syndicate. I've seen a couple people comment on that, in the YouTube chat. So we just want to, let everybody know that while we all are a part of that guild, we are trying to be as guild agnostic as possible during this time. So do just want to address that and just address that head on. We are this podcast is about the larger Champions Ascension community. So this is not just a mouthpiece for the Prime Syndicate. This time and this podcast is about the larger community.
That's 100% true, right? It's like, that's why we want to bring a lot of the community on, a lot of developers on, to ask the questions that everybody's thinking about when it comes to this game, and then just really to get the word out to keep this growth phase going for Champions Ascension. So, yep, there it is right there. So dewlit, man, it's like, I'm sure it takes a lot to step up and lead a guild. What made you want to start a guild, and kind of, what does it entail to be the leader of the Prime Syndicate?
Yeah, absolutely. Those are good questions. So I'll say, first of all, for me, I just have a natural tendency, wherever I go, the spaces that I'm in, whether it's a game or whether it's a job, a workplace, I just feel compelled to gather groups of people that I vibe with, that have similar mindsets and personalities that I get along with. And it kind of started the same way with Champions Ascension. Dip and I actually know each other in real life, and we actually met because I created a group at work to bring people together and help each other and hang out and vibe. And he was actually the one that brought me into Champions. And I had him already, but along the way, he met some people before I got in, and we just started vibing in the community and pulling people together, and started to really consider this as an investment. Clearly it's a game, and we want to have fun with that as well, but we also invested money into this, right? And so we wanted to gather people that we got along with, people that had the same kind of mindset of competitiveness, of financial success, of good vibes. And the goal, I think, with the Death Gang and now the Prime Syndicate from the beginning was to win and to gather people that worked well together for the purpose of good vibes, strategy and success.
Mm-hmm. Right. You know what? I think one of these days we're going to have Buy the Dip on here as a guest. We're going to find out more about him and his whole process. But were you into NFTs before this, or crypto at all? Like, what was your journey into the NFT space?
Yeah, so I was into crypto before this. I was not into NFTs because I was one of those people that was cautiously thinking of them as JPEGs or just simply art that people spent way too much money on. But I did see the potential. I saw how much money was being made in the space, and so I had my eye on it as something to look into in the future. But honestly, I probably would not have jumped in when I did if it weren't for Dip telling me about Champions and saying you got to get in on this. And so I did, and I dove in. This was my official first project that I jumped into, but along the way, before the mint of Champions, I ended up getting involved in other projects and minting some other NFTs along the way. So very similar to some of the other people from the other guilds that have spoken already, that this is a new experience for me.
It was your portal into DJing and into NFTs, huh? I think that happened to a lot of us.
Yeah.
Did you have experience in guilds and gaming guilds before that? Like me myself, I haven't. Right. Now I've played all the games on the consoles, but no real experience in guild and team playing in video games. Do you have any experience in that with any other games?
Yeah. So when I was really young, I played a game called EverQuest that very similar to World of Warcraft, I believe, at the time. I wasn't in any guilds. I was too young. I just played whenever my parents let me use a computer, but I understood what guilds were. After that, I think my first experience with a guild was actually a browser-based game called Travian. Really addicting game. I don't recommend it to people because it's way too easy to lose your life and time and money to that game. It's so great. But I joined it in the middle of a season. They have time frames for a season to last, and I just naturally started reaching out to the people that were near me on the map and formed a group, and I became a leader of a guild and ran for a while. Had a lot of fun with it, coordinating raids and attacks and just getting to know people from around the world. So I had that experience as a leader, and then of course I've been in some other guilds and other games. Probably the most recent one would be Destiny 2. Just had a guild that I was a part of that we did things together.
All right. So it looks like you were a general on the floor doing some attacks and things like that and have guild experience. With Champions Ascension, what do you think the guilds will look like in this game? And that's a big question. They gave us a little bit of insight, but how do you think that's going to play out when it comes to guild play and what the advantages would be when the gameplay starts?
Yeah. So, I think guilds are going to have a tremendous impact on the game. They're kind of going to be a focused voice of the people that collaborate together, and we have 3 different ones currently. You have all these people in a community working together, and eventually you're going to get some examples of gameplay. They're going to figure out different ways to do things, different strategies. You're going to have some really, probably the best players in the game, both competitively, PvP, and also the best players in the game as far as financial strategy and earnings will likely be a part of guilds. And so I think guilds will help foster that growth and that success. And they will also likely be leaders in the community for the players that might not be in a guild, for free-to-play players, for new people in the space, examples to follow, and an inspiration for different types of play and strategy.
Yeah, I can't wait. I think a lot of us are really excited to see the gameplay. And, even with the Prime Syndicate, formerly known as Death Gang, when you started it, I don't think that we knew how big of a role. Well, of course, there's examples of how guilds really show up and play a big role in other games, but we didn't really know it was going to impact the way that the lore and the way that the developers are making the game. How did you feel when you found out that the guild aspect was going to take a major role, major forefront of this game? Do you like it? What did you think about it?
Oh, I absolutely like it. It's very exciting. I think it gives people an incentive to plug into the community. It's not simply showing up and being a solo player, like Bobby had mentioned a moment ago, but kind of getting connected to a smaller group of people that you really vibe with and connect with, and enjoying the game, and knowing that your voice and your contribution to the game matters, and that you help shape the direction of the project, which I think is the whole purpose of blockchain gaming in the first place. Is traditional gaming, you don't really own your assets. You don't really own the time that you've put into the game. Whereas with Champions, it's very clear. With the blockchain gaming, we do own our characters. We will earn with our characters, but also, Champions has made it very clear from the beginning that primes, especially, and now guilds, have a voice, and they're very important, and they will shape the direction of the game. And I think it's really awesome, really exciting. Makes it very entertaining.
This is the first like the pioneers of doing something like that. Like we were talking earlier in the show, it's like Champions Ascension is staying true to the Web3 space and allowing the community to form the guilds, and then allowing the guilds to impact the actual game, the gameplay, which to me is just amazing. And it just gets me more and more bullish about how the developers are thinking and about this game moving forward. So I'm all the way in.
100%. Yeah.
And we've seen when it comes to recruiting, that's a big aspect, right? I can tell a little bit of my personal story. It's like, I just know in real life and gaming and everything, grouping up with people that are like-minded and strategizing and coming together, sort of like a beehive model, the best ideas come to the top. I knew personally that, hey, I'm putting some real ETH, some real money into this game. Let me connect with a guild so that we can, share some advantages, share some strategies. I've seen folks recruiting. What brought me to the Prime Syndicate is really personal relationship with Gonzaga and Dip, really just talking to them. I seen them dropping some real alpha in the chat, in the Discord. So I mean, hey guys, what do you think about these guilds? And then boom, Death Gang came up a couple times. That was my personal journey to the Death Gang, now the Prime Syndicate. When it comes to recruiting, what's the strategy of the Prime Syndicate? Do you have like a certain criteria, a certain type of member in mind? And then is there like an ideal size? Like, are you looking to grow it as fast as possible, or what are you looking for in terms of recruiting?
Yeah, great questions. Some of that can be tricky. Over the internet, it's difficult to get a full grasp of somebody and their fit until you spend time with them. And I think your experience is pretty common for what we've done so far. Is most of the people we've brought in are people we've built relationships with. There's been connections to other members, recommendations, referrals, that sort of thing. And we like that organic growth a lot. It seems to be the best way to get the right people for the right fit, because we do, like KG had actually mentioned for the Wardens, we want to be more of a family. We want to be people that want to be around each other, want to get along, want to play the game, hang out, talk, that sort of thing. And so the number one thing we look for is if we like someone and if we think we'll get along with them. That's probably the most important factor, period. Because like I said, we really want to build a family of people who get along and want to help each other. And
that's
the second, sorry about that. The second thing we consider is whether or not that person will bring value to us. Value comes in many forms, but we'll keep the specifics of those values internal to the syndicate. But we are exclusive. We aren't open to anybody and everybody. We do try to achieve a certain vibe and atmosphere, and that can be a difficult game when you're dealing with different cultures, different people, different languages, backgrounds, demographics. But we're always working to achieve.
Man, that's so important to have a good space, a positive space of the right community members coming together and just vibing, right? That is important to keep the culture, right, of a positive vibe and everything going on in the guild. And not to tarnish that. So much respect, man. Much respect to what you do. And I think you kind of answered it, but I'm asking everybody right at the end of the interview, it's like, why somebody that's looking at joining a guild, why should they be interested in the Prime Syndicate? Why would they want to join the Prime Syndicate?
Yeah, absolutely. So I did touch on the big thing for us is family and fitting in. I want to start off by saying that anybody listening to this that hasn't found a guild, the most important thing for you is to find a guild that you vibe with, that fits you and your personality. I know the pack is focusing a lot on competitive gamers, but if you're a really good competitive gamer and you end up in a group that you don't really get along with or don't have much in common with, you're not going to enjoy your time with the game. I think it's better to join the group that feels like a family, that feels like home, and then offer your skill sets to that. And so we are a mixture of competitive, of strategy, of camaraderie and community, anything like that that fits the overall family atmosphere. So, like I said before, the Prime Syndicate is exclusive. Not everybody that wants to get in is going to get in. A motto that we throw around a lot in our council is, you don't find us, we find you. Which it's not always the case, but it pretty often is. And even in your own experience, it came from a connection. And it kind of found you. And, but that being said, generically, it might be a good fit for us if you want to be a part of a family and if you like to be different. We don't feel the need to explain ourselves or solicit all day in the channels. We're a little bit different on that regard. We're a little bit more subtle in the beginning. As Death Gang, we were a lot more bold and out there, but things have slowed down a little bit because of our priorities. And ultimately, like I said, we prioritize community, good vibes, success, and winning.
There it is.
Hit us up.
Mic drop. Dewlit. There it is, man. Look, I'm the other Prime Minds. Any other questions or for Dewlit before we let him go?
So anything, I know a lot of people, and I see it around, they have a lot of questions about, like, why are you guys big, or why are you guys like that? Could you give them, just give, everybody some insight, to what makes it different?
What makes us different? What makes us great? Well, I noticed earlier some of the topic came up about the amount of primes and members carrying primes, and I can say with almost 100% certainty that we carry more primes than any of the other guilds. There might even be a chance we have more than the both of them combined. We'll see about that. I don't want to make that official, but we have a very high percentage of primes in the community. We have a lot of large holders that really stands out for the commitment and the kind of people that are involved with us. We have a lot of creative people in our team, as was mentioned earlier as well. We've got you guys doing this podcast, which again, big respect, and I'm so proud of you guys for doing this for the community. We have people internally that do a lot of creative things. We've got developers, programmers, we've got graphic designers, we've got people that are really good with numbers and data and spreadsheets and finances. So we have our own ways of tracking and monitoring our primes, of the marketplace, buying and selling. So quite a bit to offer. I don't want to give everything away. We do like to kind of keep things tight, but ultimately we've got a lot of talent and we've got a lot of community, and that's the winning combo.
Yep. Dewlit, there it is, man.
I got a question for you. Most of the time Syndicate is associated with illicit activities. What would you say to anybody who brings that up?
Fair point. A lot of times it's crime syndicates is probably the most common phrase for syndicate, but syndicate is actually an organization of people that have a common goal, and that's what we're about. And I think syndicate fits us because it's a little on the nefarious side, not necessarily evil or bad or criminal, but kind of subtle, sneaky in the shadows. We do our own thing, and I don't think it should be associated with illicit activity at all. We're not about that life at all.
No. Unless we can get a little bit of the the Massina coin in the gameplay, why not, right? Do what you got to do. I'm joking, but we'll see. If it's in the game, it's in the game. Look, Dewlit, man, I appreciate you taking the time. We all appreciate you, leaning in and becoming the leader of a guild, one of the big three guilds. All of these guilds are important to making this game a success. Bringing people in, showing them community, which any guild they vibe with. We know for a fact that everybody has a lot of talented people. Like the Champions Ascension space just has a lot of very smart, talented people as a whole. Even Squiddy said that in the AMA last night. I think he was spot on with that. And of course, thanks to you and all the other guild members for stepping up and leaning into this leadership role for the rest of the community to come in and join in a team that they can vibe with. So much appreciation, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks for having all the guilds, and big ups to everybody listening to this and participating in the community. Hope you all have a good one.
There it is, man. Thank you. Enjoy your weekend.
You too.
All right, Prime Minds. We still on?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
All right. Yep. So, we ran a little bit long today, but that's okay. We had a few. We had total 4 different guests today. We wanted to give enough time for each guild to really go through kind of what they're about. You can only gather so much from, the typed word in the Discord. You lose a little bit of context, So when they have a chance to really explore what their guild is about, what their leadership style is, what the recruitment style is, and if you could fit in, we wanted to make sure that we gave enough time and attention for them to express that. Prime Minds. Let's go around. Yeah, was that Dip? How you guys feeling, man? What's your feedback? What are you feeling like?
I feel like we could have gone a lot longer, guys, because every single one of these leaders are interesting, and I'm going to tell you that right now. Like, I can see a whole episode going on with Ash, a whole episode going on with KG, and then a whole episode going on with dewlit, and I'm pretty sure we'll do that in the future.
Yep.
Great minds, great contributors to the community. I have so much respect for all of those guys, and I'm really looking forward to the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's go around see how the Prime Minds are feeling. Vita G, you still with us? How you feeling after that conversation? What are you feeling like moving forward?
Well, first off, I'm just hyped that the Prime Syndicate is now a known entity. That's pretty exciting to me. But I'll leave
that was a big drop, right? That was some breaking news right there.
Absolutely, yeah. We got to break something on the podcast, so that's awesome.
Or I feel bad for Ryder Ryan. I think he's got to go back and redo the lore a little bit. Sorry, Ryan.
We'll make sure he gets it right. Yeah. Anyways, but honestly, man, yeah, I'm a little bit bummed I always go second because I feel like whoever goes first hits a lot of my thoughts. So I'm going to echo a lot of what By the Dip said. Just that I just love the community that we have here, both in the Prime Minds, but also just in the larger Champions Ascension community. I've gotten to interact with a lot of these guild leaders and guild members personally, and everybody's nice, right? Like we can have these fun little tips in the chat, but at the end of the day, like everybody is supportive and really wants this project to succeed, right? A high tide rises all boats, and we're all in this together.
Man, for real, I wish success on all of the guilds, honestly, and I think. Shit, this ain't financial advice, and maybe we'll put a disclaimer at the beginning of every show, but we're all going to the fucking moon together, right? WAGMI, we're all going to make it. Every single guild, I wish all success on all of them. So, and that's not a lie, man. I know what it takes to step up and take on the extra burden of being a leader of a whole guild. That's a big move. So shout out to all 3 leaders. Z Macon, how you feeling?
Oh, I'm good, brother. I'm definitely very satisfied that I was reached out in the beginning to be a part of Death Game, now part of the Prime Syndicate. That makes me feel proud and makes me want to rep that guild more. But, having all these guilds on here to begin with is a great place to start. And that's where I'm going to put it as. This is just a start, right? These are the 3 OG gangs in the game, but we know once it opens up to people who don't have primes, there's going to be other individuals who come in and want to do their own things. But the fact that I'm guessing, like you've touched on, Ryan's going to have to make some adjustments, that we're going to be OGs in not only the game, but the lore and the guild world. And, it's good to be a part of this to begin with. And I'm happy that, to be part of a community that, like Vita said, we're all in this together, right? Like, I know there was some stuff going on the last couple of days about guild discussions and some little bit of heated discussions in the CA server, but
a little bit of tips.
Everything was brought to a respectful head. You know what I mean? No one had any. There was no cursing going on. No gifs of things being thrown across the screen. Nothing like that. Everyone's respectful in this community, and it's going to help build it even more, because it's like you guys was touched on with multiple of the guilds earlier. It's always good to have that little bit of rivalry. It helps drive you to heighten your own senses and your own skills. So I'm really looking forward to everything that guilds will involve in this game.
Man, I'm excited too, man. You said it perfectly. Bunzaga, man. Big B. Last but definitely not least, you got your hands in everything. How you feeling about this conversation? How you feeling moving forward?
I am honestly just digesting it all. I'm probably gonna have to go watch this stream again and just listen again to the great minds of the guild leaders. And to be honest, I'm just in the Prime Syndicate because they approached me first. I see Ash and I see KG with full respect, and if they just formed a little bit earlier, I could have been in their guild. And so I look at all these guys and I see family, and I just appreciate all the work that everyone's putting into the game and the community. And
well, we touched on it a little bit. It's like you're making the what's that called? Talk about how you work with the other guilds, the codex, yeah.
Yeah.
And you got members from different guilds coming in, and you guys are working together to make it something positive for the game. Yeah, talk about that.
Yeah. So, I put it in the game suggestions, and got a pretty good response from several of the other guild members, and just thought, this is something that needs to be there, like regardless if sorry, what was the company name? Gem City. Yeah. Even if Gem City doesn't give it to us, like, it needs to be there. And so I woke up on Saturday and thought, I don't want this to be a Prime Syndicate thing only. I wanted everybody to be involved. And so I reached out to the other guilds and asked if they could come on and be admins and help, orchestrate it. And they came out fighting, and they did an amazing job. So I'm super proud of them, and just happy that they went full force.
Yep. But Zaga, man, shit. Jam City Champions Ascension is lucky to have you, bro. So keep up the good work, everything you're doing. I'll follow more closely that codex. I'm sure I know some things are out, but yeah, I think sounds like it's going to be a living, breathing document. Like, there will always be things added to it. So anyone that wants to help with that, contact Gonzaga or the other admins that are getting that together. All right, guys. With that said, man, we're about an hour and a half in. So, sometimes some of these shows will run a little bit longer, sometimes maybe a little bit shorter. But once again, shout out to Ash out of the pack, shout out to KG out of the Wardens of Massina, and then shout out to dewlit, the Prime Syndicate, all the leaders that are doing their thing, and all of the champions out there and Prime Eternal holders. We're the best. We're going to the moon. We're all going to make it. We will see you all next week. Do we have our guest for next week yet, guys? Is that something we can announce right now? Or are we going to keep them waiting?
Do it. Let them know the alpha.
No, build the suspense.
But say it right now, because look, I don't even know if I know right now. So do we want to say it? Go ahead.
We got him confirmed. Do it.
All right, we got it confirmed. We are going to have Ice Toad himself on the podcast next week.
What?
I am personally very excited. I love this dude. Every interaction I've had with him has been super positive. So we're gonna have him in on the episode and get into into whatever, man.
Some gameplay. So okay, look, Gonzaga's gonna have to take a big lead on that one. I'm gonna look into it. So that is amazing. Next Saturday, same time, 12 Eastern. 9 a.m. Pacific, wherever you are on the globe, just synchronize your watches. We will see you all next week with Ice Toad. And until then, you all know, Prime Minds